What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're doing part 2 of the Fear Street spoiler-free review of 1978. Did it get any better? Let's find out. First up, now, I want to say to you, now, of course, I'm going to be kind of referencing the first movie. So if you have not seen the first movie, I just want you to know that maybe you might want to, so that I can make some points about this movie that will make sense. But I will try to be as spoiler-free on this one, obviously, as I can. But for part 1, I might cover a couple of things, so I'm just giving you fair warning. So I just got done watching part 2, 1978 of Fear Street on Netflix. And I gotta say, this is definitely a step in the right direction. I enjoyed this quite a bit more than the last episode. So what is part 2, 1978? Well, it's Shadyside again, and of course this town is cursed by the witch, which we found out in part 1, but this time it goes back to 1978 to Nightwing Camp, where we get to see a little bit of why some of the things that were happening in the 90s started in 1978 or even before. Last time I did a review for the first movie, I had seen an interview where they were talking about the different influences and things, and she said, or they said, that Texas Chainsaw Massacre was going to be this one, but I would definitely say this is hats off to Jason and being camp counselors and a camp setting, for Christ's sake. So I don't know why they said that, or maybe the person that was interviewing assumed that, but I'm just letting you know I was wrong. Okay? Shut up. So obviously we get Lee Janiak, I hope I'm saying that name right, and we also get a new screenwriter, Zach Olkowicz, who is kind of new to the writing scene, but has a producer credit for the movie Lights Out. We also get a whole new cast, even though we're kind of brought in from the 90s to meet a character that grew up in the 70s and up to 94. So we get a whole new group of characters that are from 1978. And I gotta say that I like this cast a hell of a lot more. We got Sadie Sink returning to the screen, who was in Stranger Things. She plays Max. She was in Stranger Things 2 and 3, I believe. We got Emily Rudd playing her sister. Rhiannon Simpkins, I believe I'm saying her name right, or Ryan Simpkins. She was a new character. McCabe Sly is also in here, plays Tommy, and holy shit, do they kill some people in this movie that you are not expecting. I mean, first of all, we got a cast of kids, but they kill kids, which honestly I love. Not that they're dying, but the fact that it is a world in which kids are not off limits, and that to me is a huge step up in the right direction. So many times in horror movies, they're afraid to do it. I don't know if it's because they're worried about the actor or actress getting scared by something like this or being scarred or some sort of societal thing. Usually it's because it's like, hey, don't kill kids. You know, we kill dogs, like, hey, what the fuck? Kill them all the time. But kids, not so much. So I actually appreciate that in this movie. And they don't really show it. Most of it is off screen, but the intention is there, and that I think is a step in the right direction. Now, was this all great? Was this everything great? No, but it was definitely much better than my last experience. I gave the last movie like a 6.5 maybe. I think it was still more of a 6, and this is more of like a 7, maybe even a 7.5. However, it still has some of that bubblegum in there that I talked about in the first movie. This sort of air about it that is kind of, it feels younger, even though it's not. Because I think the cast is so young, it kind of makes you feel that way. But, you know, a lot of people were saying that they enjoyed this one because it kind of throws back to the whole slasher Jason vibe, which I totally get. It wasn't exactly like it. Some of the kills were kind of good. There was quite a few kills that had some pretty graphic stuff in it, which I enjoyed. I don't know, it seemed like this one was a little bit better written. So I don't know, Zach, but I think he did a much better treatment to this 70s version than the first one, unfortunately. That one felt a little all over the place. This one feels a little bit more well organized, almost like it's got its stride now, and maybe that's how it was written. You know, maybe they wrote it in succession and they changed a few things here and there to fit all three movies together, but the transition between 94 and this is pretty great. They bookend this movie with 94 on each side, so obviously they're kind of like, you know, keeping 94 the primary time to stop everything that happens in the future and just kind of sort of telling the story from the past, which next episode or next movie is going to be 1666, which I saw they show a little bit at the end of this movie about what's going to happen sort of in that. It looked pretty good, actually. I'm not much of a period piece fan. I had a conversation with one of my buddies over at Horror Movie Night. We were kind of talking about what we felt about this franchise so far on the first movie and how we're not really eager to see the last movie being a period piece. But, you know, maybe they'll do it right. Maybe it's going to be kind of freaky and scary and stuff. But yeah, it looks like we're going to be going back to 1666 to kind of discover where the curse originated from, the whole story of Sarah Fear, see what happens with that. But I think this was a decent one. I wasn't expecting this one to be better than the first one. The set design and things like that in this were pretty good. I thought that they did a really good job. It wasn't really scary. Like, that's the thing about these, is that I'm a little bit more interested in it, but as far as scares go, they're not that great. But this one was a step up in the scary direction than the last one. And I don't know if that's because of the nostalgia that they're presenting with these movies. There was a lot of long talking parts in this one, so there's a lot of character development in this. Could have been trimmed probably a little bit more, but I think the characters are interesting and I kind of like them. So this one was actually a lot more of a easier watch for me than the last one. Another thing that I really liked was that they kind of focused on one of the slashers this time instead of throwing a whole bunch of things at the screen. I think that was kind of the flaw of the first movie, is that they threw too much at you at once and they didn't really get into the characters so much. This one, they really do focus on the characters. They focus on one slasher and it just felt better paced. It didn't feel as splotchy as the first one, but there are some newer slashers that you sort of saw in the first movie. I won't spoil anything, of course, but one in particular was a smaller one and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. That one looks horrific. Were the kills as good as the first one? I think slightly better, but also not, because we didn't get to see, but there was a couple of off-camera kills. I don't mind them being in a movie, but I would like to see more. Maybe I'm just a sick fuck like that, but hey, sick fucks unite. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. This one was much better. I'd give this one like a 7.5. It seems to be a step in the right direction, and maybe, like I said, it was just their stride. They wrote the first one, they wrote the second one, they wrote the third one. I don't know what to expect from the third one. What do you guys think of this movie? Did you enjoy this one better than the first one? Was I too harsh on the first movie? Because I don't think I was. I think I was completely fair. This has less bubblegum in this one, but it still has that air of it, and I'm wondering what the next one is going to be, so I'm definitely going to be on board to watch that this time. Much more excited about the next one than I was last time. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and if you enjoy this content, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help this channel grow and reach more people that are just like yourself, who are fucking awesome. So thank you guys so much for stopping by, and as always, long live the board.